Alrighty. I think we're good now.
Yeah. Welcome back for those of you who are joining us.
Yeah. Let's see. Bitrate looks good now. Everything looks good. Apologize for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had a little bit of upload problem with Twitch there.
Which is weird. I had to change our...
I think we're back to normal
so
far.
So far only 30 frames.
Yeah.
I think last stream we dropped like 117.
It's not really good to lose half of the video.
No. 50% though is completely unacceptable. Okay.
Right.
So now...
So today, first of all...
Yeah. Let's recap because we completely got sidetracked because of technical problems.
Right.
Hey, I hope people can hear us.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have one in there.
Yeah.
So let's see what's going on here. Make sure everything's good. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I wish we had somebody in here to confirm our audio for us.
Yeah. If you're listening and you can confirm, please confirm that you can hear us. Por favor.
Yeah. We just want to see because at this point in time, we don't know because that looks a little curious to me. Like the noise profile might be too high. So
possibly.
Huh? There's no rush. Yeah, I'm not worried about it because I am not excited to play StarCraft.
Yeah. Well, StarCraft is a tough game, and last week we talked a little bit about the psychology of gaming, which we plan on revisiting in the future. But today we're talking about your setup, and as it pertains to competition versus comfort,
right?
And then all the particular scenarios that it exists in. Give us 1 second here. Oh, okay. Yeah, so your setup, what makes it important, or not really important, but all the very particular... I hear my own self over there. Oh, you tested the sound. Okay, good. Yeah, all right. So all the specificity... Yeah, specificity. Things that are very specific to the person.
I've decided that's my handle from here on out.
What, specificity?
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you could spell it.
No. Not right now.
So all the specificity when it comes to whether you're a console gamer, whether you're a PC gamer, whether you play at home for fun, whether you want to, use the dominant method for competition. And so when it comes to your setup, in any use case, what do you think is like...
your
absolute...
So a lot of things start out as hobbies. You play guitar as a hobby, you're interested in learning it, and you may not buy the most expensive guitar, right? Just because...
Walmart, Esteban,
whatever
version.
It is. So, what am I playing against? Is that a plat? Really? Oh, well, hey.
Hey, you lost. Oh, you won!
I won!
You won with negative APM.
That's it.
That means you win, but you still lose.
I actually didn't press a single key.
Oh, no, your name is negative APM.
My name is negative APM.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how bad I am at this game. But anyway, so... Think of it. Oh,
setting new
wow!
records.
I went up by 20 points on my MMR in gold.
Yeah, I think we need to stream more often. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, well, yeah. But what I was getting at is you don't initially begin a hobby or an activity with a relatively high amount of investment.
Right. Right.
It's either way. It's almost like a risk. You don't necessarily start out buying a high-end Fender guitar or something really fancy. And I think the same thing applies to gaming. So,
I didn't think of it that way when I was mulling over the topic, but that is very true. I mean, probably the first gaming system you start out with is one of those plug-in TV deals that you get.
How many, like, for example, for us, when I was a kid, I played games on my parents' computer, which wasn't meant for gaming. It had...
Dude, you're getting a Dell.
I had a Dell, like Inspiron 4300 with a Pentium 4 single core and like a GeForce 2 MX 400, I believe it was, which wasn't really a high-end gaming card. It wasn't. I would get like 30 frames in UT on low settings.
Right.
Maybe not even that, and that was like 1024 by 768, which is not even like a really high resolution. So. Well,
go ahead.
My point being is you don't start with the best equipment. You will find that, hey, maybe if I get this, it'll be a little better. And you'll find areas of opportunity as you continue to play,
right?
As you notice deficiencies.
Something like emergent strategies come up when you run into problems.
Yeah,
I guess.
If I had 60 frames per second, I wouldn't miss that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas because I got lag, and a lot of people are, I got lag, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Maybe an internet connection is worth investing in.
That could be something as well. You may find something you really enjoy playing single player, and then say, oh wow, StarCraft could be one of those games where you enjoy playing single player, and so bad at this game right now, and you want to play online, and then you realize, oh wow, I only have dial-up.
Yeah.
You realize, oh, okay, I could have a serious advantage if I wasn't lagging.
Sure.
So that's kind of how that works to an extent. Am I actually playing?
Yeah. Well, I think there's something. I think you need something good enough to get started, though. So we talk about having the Walmart guitar, and some people play guitar for just a few weeks because they have a very, how do you say, low quality. And when things are low quality, they're just more difficult to use.
Like a guitar.
Yeah. And generally the higher quality, and we'll just use guitars as a reference because that's easy enough. The higher quality of the guitar, not only the easier it is to play, but it also can help you cover over mistakes.
Right.
Just by smoothing up your play a bit. So with gaming, I'm not quite sure if you should start at bottom barrel. Maybe something used might be a good idea.
The used is tough. I don't think a lot of people like peripherals. I don't think a lot of people actually build. Build.
Oh, because you're playing the game.
Yeah, I'm thinking build. StarCraft's about building stuff, but I don't think a lot of people buy used keyboards. You know what I mean? I don't really think that's a thing. I'm not sure though. I actually don't know where this guy's at either. That's a problem. And that's because I'm not too. He's right over here.
I think, and I'll just speak while you play, so you can kind of get some things through there. Maybe not buying a used keyboard, but a machine that at least gets you to a capable game. If you know what game you want to play, because some games are not that difficult to run.
No.
But let's say you are a person who's just getting into the world of gaming. I actually think if you wanted to start at the bottom end, and this is not an insult, I repeat, this is not an insult, you should probably get a console.
Yeah.
Because I believe that a console gives you, although it limits your options, it gives you the ability to know that the game will run, right? Mm-hmm. And it gives you the opportunity, especially if that console covers competitive games, to play those games at least with the knowledge that it'll run well enough for you to know if you'll like it or not.
Right.
Would you agree with that, or do you think that a PC is a better investment even early on?
It all depends on what you want to play. Realistically, this guy's stuck. All right, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So, well, I guess if you're capable of using Twitch, likely you're capable of running a PC. So maybe the
you say that, but there are a lot of people who watch streams and just don't.
No, they don't understand how a computer works.
No. Well, yeah, that. But there's a lot of people who watch games, right? Because they want to, but they can't.
Oh, well, you get the entertainment values like watching football.
Or they want to play, but they can't.
Right.
Let me correct that. So, Forge. Dude, I haven't played this in forever.
So is the game more specific to the requirements? No. So, like for instance, if a person is watching a game and they're like, "Man, I really want to see if I can get into that," so should they buy to what gives them the advantage of that? Or, let's say you were just starting out.
Right.
And so we identified what would be the cheapest route into gaming. It would be a console because the learning curve is very steep, and that is the correct way to use learning curve. If it's steep, that means you learn things very rapidly. If it's a shallow learning curve, that means you spend a lot of hours and learn very little over time.
Right.
So on a console, all you need to do is learn how to navigate a very basic menu. You get the controller with the box, and then you pick a game or two to go along with it. Mm-hmm. Right. I don't think any console has StarCraft on it, so maybe
N64 did.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't know if that really counts.
As popular as that is here in 2018.
Right. What is this? I haven't played StarCraft. I'm going to start with this precursor. I haven't played StarCraft in like a million years.
Yeah.
So
if only there were people out there that could help us.
Yeah, coaches.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on.
It's a busy game, and like I need to tech up, and I'm not, and that's a problem. And he's turtling. Like, look at this. This is Turtle. This is what I was talking about in the last stream.
So turtling
his psychosis or psychology or assessment of this game is, oh, if I do this, I won't die.
Right.
Because the idea is I can't rush him.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So his goal is to win the game, and he's using a defensive tactic.
Yeah, this is very defensive.
Uh-huh.
It's highly defensive, but it's also you're limiting yourself severely.
Because that's only going to allow you to build up a bigger army as well, no?
You would think I should be able to expand quicker, but I honestly don't know where he stands. I got to check. I'm trying to figure out.
Right.
Where's his economy at? He may have expansions all over the map, and I don't know yet.
Right.
So that's why this guy's calling me. So,
man, I wish I understood this game more.
Yeah, this game is a little. It's in depth.
Right.
So, like, I really need to tech up. I need to build more stuff. The whole game is building stuff. Who can build stuff more effectively while preventing the other person from building stuff?
Huh.
So,
well, that's interesting. You say build stuff. Well, that brings. I think that segues right back into what we were talking about. Early system builds. So if the basic is you can get a console and pick a game and see if you really want to get better at it, and like your
mute us. Forget this.
With consoles today, you're probably going to spend between $300 to $500.
Yeah,
for a setup with a couple of games, something like that. So with a PC, let's say you're getting into competitive online gaming. Usually, PC is the best route to do that, simply because it gives you more options. So you can test many different strategies because a lot of PC games now support controllers as well as different input-output devices. Right? So keyboard, mouse, different gaming peripherals, things like that. So let's say you were starting out, right? You get the chance to do it all over again. What do you think are the most important early equipment buys for a gamer who wants to be competitive?
He made a mistake. It was a bad decision on his part.
Did you get that?
No, sorry. I'm totally concentrated. I'm fully invested in this game.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to lose these units. So is he. I'm going to kill probes.
Yeah, so the probes are the little needle nose things sticking out of the ground, I believe.
No. The probes are actually drones. This is how invested I am in this game. This is why I said this game would be a bad idea.
Well, you wanted to play it, you know.
Yeah, and I want to play it because I do want to get better at this game. Carrying a lot of minerals. And that's the thing. It's challenging, this game.
Right. Well, we'll give it a round, and then maybe I'll hop into a different game that I can play more casually.
Right.
And give you an opportunity to talk.
Yeah, because, like, for example, this game is tough. And he's gone... He did, like, a weird one-base build into mutas, which is an awkward tech switch. It really is. It doesn't make sense. He's trying to take out my pylon. What is he attacking?
Can you explain any of those terms?
So the pylons are the units that actually power my base and also provide supply. So, yeah, this is game. He went straight to mutas. So that's the problem. And I have nothing.
So his strategy worked.
He turtled up and he went a tech route that I wasn't expecting. And that's why I lost. Basically.
I see.
So, and I understand that, but I'm not capable. I can actually just take this guy. I'm not capable of playing at that level yet. See, like, these aren't enough. If I had, like, 20 of these guys, this would be game.
Oh, okay.
So, this guy
won. GG.
Yeah, GG well.
And we'll resign from the match.
He did good.
Yeah.
So,
that's StarCraft, guys. I hope you learned everything you've ever needed to know.
It's not. So, let's see what I did wrong. I was ahead.
Right, so what we're looking at here is basically gaming telemetry.
Yeah, this is the telemetry of the actual game that I just played in.
And telemetry is just a readout of your actions.
Look at this. This is how you know I'm an awful player. I have 214 APM. I don't know where any of it went.
Oh.
Because he defeated me. So
I think this is a good time to talk about the economy of movement, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to that APM graph, and we'll recover this on another thing.
This was an APM. This is army value. This is... So I had army before him, and I even had more army at one point, but he had units that countered mine.
So he just chose correctly. Or more appropriately.
And it may have not even been correctly. He's just on a path, right? I'm going to be really defensive for the first 5 minutes. I'm going to build a bunch of Mutalisks, which were the flying units, right? And I see this guy went Adepts first, so I even know, because Adepts can't shoot up. So at that point, he's like, okay, I got this in the bag. All I need to do is defend his push, because he thinks I'm probably doing an Adept timing attack, which is a tactic that many pros use. And I'm not, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I wasn't going... I literally have no idea what build I'm choosing, where I'm beginning. Where this guy probably knew. He's like, hey, I'm going to be defensive, and I'm going to build mutas. And honestly, that is the better way to play StarCraft, and this proves it, right? Because he committed to a tactic, whether or not it seemed lucrative. You know what I mean? So it was, he's just going to go. This is my path, and I'm sticking to it. And that's why he won the match. Where I was like, okay, I'm going to do Adepts, right? Maybe if I started out with 2 Stalkers and saw that, okay, he's being tanky, and I just kept building Stalkers and maybe didn't go Immortals, I probably would have been better off. And this game might have still been going on, or I would have won it. So that's, and what I'm saying this the way I am, so people can understand that this is how you have to analyze every game.
Right.
Any game you play.
Yeah.
You play Unreal Tournament, or you play Call of Duty, or you play Overwatch. It's advised that you watch your replays.
Right. And not every game has this type of setup.
No.
They don't have this type of telemetry that is available that can show you all the little intricacies. Well, maybe not all the intricacies, but at least some of the base numbers where you can say, well, maybe I can improve this, make a decision here that would more positively affect the outcome that I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I shouldn't have lost this game. And every indication here shows that I shouldn't, right? I was ahead in resource collection. I'm getting more money.
Right.
I had upgrades, right? I had higher output on my damage. I had more workers. Like, everything in this game indicates that I should have won, but because I didn't scout or I didn't see what tech path he was going,
right,
I couldn't counter it. So it's not like chess where you can actually physically see what your opponent's doing at all times. So that's where I went wrong there.
So his decision to stick to his decision is what allowed him to at least, how you say, dominate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was that was just poor play on my part. But then again, it's my first match, and say, okay, now I'm going against someone who's gold. Which psychologically, going against someone in plat who's in a higher tier kind of was like, oh wow, really?
Yeah.
So that in itself was already a thing.
Maybe I wonder if they judge their is tiers completely tiers and how you say rank completely judged on wins and losses, or does those APMs and different inputs?
I think it's just wins and losses.
Just wins and losses. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I took that unit already. Yeah, I believe StarCraft is just wins and losses. Because you can escalate on the ladder. You can climb the ladder really quickly if you just have a ton of wins. So this game is just very much wins or losses, which I guess makes sense. That's what MMR really is, matchmaking rating, right?
Right.
You win a bunch of Oh, did I just do that? Mistakes.
What did you do?
I double clicked instead of singular click. And they're not mining. So like that kind of thing just costed me resources.
10 seconds of work.
Yeah.
Man, imagine if we treated our real work like that.
You know. Yeah.
Well, darn, I thought about something else.
Yeah, well no, and that was just a mistake.
Right. That may happen.
Yeah.
But I guess if your actions per minute are higher than your mistake per minute.
If they're accurate actions per minute. You know what I mean?
So the economy of movement.
Yeah.
Is it better to move faster and make a handful of more errors, or is it better to move slower and make near zero errors?
So in UT, my psychology is to actually aim slower. I think about the shots that I take. I don't know if that's something that I've just built over the years, like, you know, with just playing the game, and actually that would work. So I don't know, but with UT, I'm more methodical.
Right.
I think more about my movements. This game, I don't think that much because I really don't know what crap I'm doing either, so that's a problem. But a coach could tell me, hey, you should consider doing X, or you should consider doing Z, right? Maybe focus less on, I don't know, my mineral line or my probes or something, right? I don't know.
If you really knew critical systems, you could implement them as winning tactics.
Right.
Right?
So, against another Zerg. Okay. So I'm probably going to stick with... So here's the thing.
We'll just stick with something. Let's see how it goes.
I'm gonna build Stalkers. I'm going to go Stalker Immortal, maybe Archon as a higher tier tech. So for people who play StarCraft, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I'm going to go with units that can shoot air around. And the Immortals are like tanks. They do a lot of damage.
So they can put a lot of damage, they can take a lot of hits, but they move real slow.
They don't move real slow, but they can't move up. They can't shoot up. They can't shoot air. They're not anti-air. They're anti, just ground, right?
I am anti-air.
I feel like we just played on this map, and I almost wonder if this map isn't favorable for... Oh, okay. See, then this is what I'm talking about. This is Zerg Rush. So I'm... Right.
Now we saw this last time.
You could change...
Okay, no. I remember you showed me this last time where they kind of crawl in early in order to view
so this
kind
is
of what
perfect.
you're doing.
So this is perfect. He's chasing my units, which is giving me time to get out my army. Which, if he's going Zerglings, guess what?
Then your strategy...
My strategy changes. My units that I choose are different.
Are you sure changing it right? Maybe that's a false positive. Maybe it's a red herring. Why not stick to the strategy you said?
Because if he goes mass Zergling like this... Mass Zergling, my counter is this composition right here.
Okay. So what you did start out with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to build a pylon here. So the reason I'm doing that is so I can maybe move my units further up the field. I can reinforce my army a lot quicker.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is to build up an army in order to remove or reduce the other person's army to zero.
Yeah, and
and there's many different ways to do that within the game. It could be anywhere between resource management, destruction of property, breaking of federal laws, I'm sure is involved somewhere in there.
But yeah, this game is a weird one. So he's got... Try and kill these. So these are his way of managing supply.
Okay, and so your ground-to-air tactic.
So he's going Mass Ling, which... Mass Ling is annoying to deal with because they move quickly. They move very quickly, and these guys are... Stalkers are actually a really fast unit, but...
They don't look that... Their legs are moving quickly, but they don't look too fast to me.
No, they're actually one of the faster moving units in the game. So... I need... See, he's going... So he sees that army, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to mess. I'm going to go in there, harass, because I'm going to go, so now I'm evaluating what he's doing. I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay.
At least based on what you could see.
Yeah, exactly. I see that he's going a Ling heavy build, which means he could be going Mutalisk as well, again, which is going to mess with me. I have no money. So I'm trying
it's a more personal problem.
Yeah, right. So I want to get these. This is going to supply block them.
What do those guys do?
They add supply so he can build more units.
Oh, so like storage containers?
Kind of, yeah. Really weird storage containers, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. This is not what I wanted.
Uh-oh.
See, and they can get a surround.
And does that give them multiple bonuses or anything?
Yeah, kind of. Okay, you guys just go back. Hang back. So he's going Ling heavy. I want to see what he's doing.
Right.
So I built a robo facility.
As you do.
And what this allows me to do is build a unit. Oh, he's going super mass Ling. That's not good. Build these. I need to block the ramp.
You don't get to say that very often.
No. Let me just actually, you know what? Let me just do this. Go, 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 go. Come on. Hurry up. Go right there. Keep him busy. This is going to be close.
What are you building, like a gate?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just to kind of keep myself...
Buy you some time?
Yeah.
So maybe your strategy wasn't the best here.
No, he's attacking my
natural. Look at that.
So, it sucks. That sucks. Alright, I need to go charge lot, which I'm doing, which is going to allow... Where are you going? Where are you guys going? I am not a pro player.
Yeah.
Is that out there?
Is this still savable at this point?
It's tough.
So he's bringing some of his guys back, and you block them in.
Yeah, so I want to kill him.
That must be why he brought them back then.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let them escape for now. Because I don't want them doing too much damage to this little wall. It was containment that I did for myself.
We need to build.
He did a lot of damage. He took my natural out. He's obviously expanded, which sucks.
That doesn't suck. Not for him.
Not for him. It sucks for me. Yeah.
It's interesting that you would be in the same rank, or at least close to, and yet still your particular strategy is very different from another person of that rank. Is that normal?
No.
No?
So, well, maybe. Because they're more... I need to do that.
Because... Is he obviously more skilled than you, I guess is what I'm really asking. Like, I mean, you've played competitive games, and you play with people that are very highly skilled.
Yeah, this is also just not one of my games.
Oh.
So he's just getting a lot of economic advantages. I guess he's a better player.
Yeah. But what I find is that the difference seems to be great.
Like, oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's true because I don't know this game well enough to easily know that it's great. It's not a simple game like Pong where, if a person has a higher score, it is very obvious that the other one is, better than the other one.
Right.
One person is better than the other. At least at the game.
He is certainly better than I am because I am running out of minerals. Like it's so weird. I went to attack to keep him contained, and his base is wide open, man.
But you don't have the useful people to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm literally building a slow. He's got 3 bases. Seriously? I have nothing. He's transferring to a 4th. Yeah, he's way ahead. At this point, I should just GG.
Yeah, well, he's explain to people why you're losing. I'm going to grab some liquid refreshment because I keep coughing.
Yeah. So I'm losing because I couldn't keep up. It's as simple as it is. So he's already 4 base. So his harass at the beginning of the game, the Ling all-in, I guess you could say, was... I at least that's what I thought it was. So I reacted a certain way. Which is what happens when you don't know what you're doing, and then you tend to panic. So that's... Ooh, I shot my own units.
Alright, well, hit GG, and I'll play a game where I can talk and speak.
Yeah, because I mean,
play and speak.
So hold on. Oh, never mind. Okay. He even said GG. So, way ahead. I don't know. I don't know why I fell behind in that game. So...
Let's look at the telemetry real quick.
Skyrocket it.
Oh my gosh.
I should have lost this game.
Yeah.
Unlike the old game I should have won, I should have lost this game, which I did. And actually, he had...
You see, what I need is that bar graph in the game so I can know that I'm going to lose.
Right. So, he was actually a pretty skilled player. He had a decent amount of APM, and obviously he used the... Look at that. He had 71 workers. Like,
economy of movement. He had better choices with...
He may be a higher ranked player.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And he's just going through the ranks right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be in the middle of the season.
I don't play. Yeah, no, this is the beginning of the season, so the season is fresh.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
So I lost that game, rightfully so.
No problem.
Let's boot up a different game.
It's Rocket League. Is that okay?
Yeah, we do Rocket League.
All right.
Yeah, because I cannot successfully speak while playing this game.
Yeah,
just can't happen.
I understood that. Yeah, so. We'll move to Rocket League, and that way I can play and speak at the same time. And the game is a little easier to understand and watch.
Well, it's more relatable for a lot of people, too.
Right.
Let's change this. Hold on, guys. We're going to update our stuff. Rocket. Oh, sweet.
Oh.
Kind of
Muffin Top.
Thank you, Muffin Top.
That's a great name.
All right, let's change this. And actually, all we need to do is change the name. Are you going to drop frames? No, we're looking good.
All right.
So, let's see. Update. I think we're good. We're on the Rocket League.
Yeah, we'll probably drop a few hopping in there.
Yeah, probably. Controller grip?
Yeah, at least I think so. I mean, I'll find out once we're in.
Yeah.
So, we left off on our actual discussion on setup. I don't
remember where we were at discussion because... I was so invested in the game.
Right. So we were talking about entry into games, right? If you're going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to play at home, whatever the case may be.
Right. Oh,
right?
yeah, that's the problem.
So whatever the case may be.
Right.
Okay. So I said that I believe that if you're going to just start out with gaming, that perhaps getting a console is the better first choice.
Right.
What do you think? and simply because
it's playable.
You know it's going to work. You can choose a couple of games, and it's not going to cost an exceeding... Oh, that's great.
Oh, that was bad. That's a way to open the game.
Thanks. Whoops.
Yeah. Well, that's accidental. That's like me losing like 17.
Yeah, well, I'm joining in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
So anyway, yeah. I don't
play?
know if consoles... I don't agree with consoles just because of... I hate playing with a controller. But that's because I've played on PC forever. But yeah, I mean, consoles open up a lot of avenues, you know. It eliminates a lot of things. Everyone has a television, right? You have... And every game is going to be playable at a relatively high setting. So, a lot of the legwork is done.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, you can strictly focus on just getting better.
Right, and that was my argument generally, is that if you get a console, you don't really need much to get started. But what would you say? And I guess you don't really play consoles, so maybe this isn't a good question for you. But let's start with PC then. So PC gives you quite a bit more options as far as setup goes.
It does.
Not only do you have access to a large amount of games.
Mr. Feces asked, how about adapting console controls to PC keyboard?
That again is
I think
one of the options within the realm of PC.
Yeah.
Right? And so that might be a very personal choice. And honestly, that's where setup kind of goes.
Right.
Right? And we're just playing casually, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's where setup kind of goes, because you said not only a few minutes ago that you can't stand playing with a controller.
I can't, no.
So unless you really wanted to play a game, I'm not sure if it's a good idea.
Yeah, I tried playing, like, I have Overwatch, right? I have it on PC. I've tried playing with an Xbox controller, and it's not. I just don't have the motor skills. My motor skills aren't adapted to that kind of, what would that be called?
At least I got one.
Yeah. Peripheral? My motor skills just aren't meant for that, just because I've played on PC
Yeah, I think
keyboard,
it would be
especially for
a
an
peripheral
FPS.
ability. Like, if you use the controller, you're more likely to use a controller.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, and for example, I have a family member who's really good at Overwatch, plays Widowmaker really well. But when it comes to PC, can't play.
Not with keyboard and mouse.
Not keyboard and mouse. You can't play at the same level. You just can't.
It took me a long time to learn keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, you started out with
Controller.
console.
Yeah. My first game was Mr. Game & Watch.
Yeah.
Mr. Game & Watch. Yeah, I controlled the little dude, and I made him deliver packages or whatever the game was about.
Yeah, whatever the game was. But, I don't know why.
Was it a Nintendo or anything?
No, it was PC. I didn't have.
You said it was a Dell, and your dad had MX.
No, this is like in the 90s.
Oh,
We had some machine we bought from a computer show, which you don't see that very often anymore. But
computer show.
yeah, look, it was literally a computer show. And you went to this like event. It was an event, like how they have gun shows or knife shows. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. You went there and you could buy a computer from a random vendor, and that vendor is probably very similar to just a small business. You know what I mean? That's probably all it was. And
Just privateers.
yeah, and I don't even remember the specs, but it had Windows 95, and actually for the time, it was a pretty stout machine. I think we had a 1 terabyte drive, which...
No way.
No, I'm sorry, not 1 terabyte. 1 gigabyte.
There
I'm
you
sorry. It was a 1 gigabyte drive. Because I remember Need for Speed being like 100 megs, and I was like, whoa, like that was a lot back then. But yeah, I was more familiarized. Actually, I played a lot of games. Like my racing games, I just played with a keyboard and mouse, or keyboard. And you use the arrow keys.
You see, I don't find that... So, I guess part of it would be that that's not... To me, that's not fun.
That's all I had.
Right.
So, to me, it was fun, because I was like, cool, I get to play my game. I guess I didn't give it much thought, because my mind wasn't... aware of the fact that, hey, there's
something to this.
There's other ways to play this, right? It was the only thing I knew, so I didn't see anything wrong with it. So that's kind of where setup. I wasn't even aware of racing simulator wheels like I am now, right? I wasn't aware of that, so I just played my racing game with a mouse and keyboard, and I adapted to that, and I got pretty good, just because that's all I had. But that doesn't mean you should stick with that,
right?
Because you're only going to be able to compete at a certain level because it's technically a handicap. You can't be as precise. Not to say that a controller you can't be precise with, but
I think it depends on the game.
Yeah, it depends on the game. Absolutely. I was just going to say that. It depends on the game. So, like StarCraft, you can't play it. I can barely play it with keyboard and mouse, but you can't play it
with a controller. Not effectively, anyway.
Don't see how.
Yeah. They would have to figure out a way to automate most of the game, and I guess when you do that, you end up with something that looks more like a MOBA or a tower defense game than StarCraft.
And even MOBAs are pretty high APM.
Yeah, that's true.
For those who play Dota or League of Legends, it's fast. You do a lot of clicking. You move your mouse rapidly. So I don't... Is any of those games available on console? I don't think so. It's funny how a lot of those games aren't, you know? You kind of over-anticipated that.
I did.
But... So... Ooh, it was close. Okay.
Cool.
So, setup is...
So what would you define as the absolutely necessary things for a person who's going to start gaming, regardless if it's console or PC? What would be the most needed things, like, I guess, must-have list, if you want to call it that?
So when we talk about setup, what do you mean?
Equipment.
Okay.
So let's say you're starting out.
Console is standardized, right? We spoke about standardization.
Okay.
Or that was an idea, but console is standardized. Everyone has... If you buy an Xbox One, you get an Xbox One controller, right? You buy a PS4, you get a PS4 controller. Well, you can change it up.
Yeah, I was about to say, so you do, but there are more competitive versions of it.
Razer makes peripherals for both, you know? But 9 times out of 10, you're going to start with those items. And
like the basic stuff like you talked about
right
earlier.
Like if you're just getting into this, you're not going to go out and spend, I mean, you might, you're not going to go out and spend $60 on a controller if the one you have technically works fine, right?
I think people will.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
but
that's not going to make you better.
Okay.
Right.
Well, okay. So again, what equipment?
Okay.
Is there equipment that can make you better?
Let's go back to the guitar. I don't play guitar, but you do.
Right.
You could give me a wall. I could probably give. How do I want to relay this? Okay. So you could give me a Fender guitar.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like really nice, couple $1,000 guitar, and I wouldn't, with my experience, be able to play it any differently than a $50 guitar. Now that may vary because you're experienced, right? You have a bit of knowledge on how to play guitar. So for you, you'll notice, wow, this is much easier to play on, or wow, I noticed this is a little bit more responsive, right? You will get that. But somebody who's at such a level isn't going to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you,
that something is similar for gaming?
Yeah, I guarantee you someone who's starting out and they're playing Call of Duty or they're playing something ranked on Xbox, they're not going to sit there and go, oh, if I had a better controller, right?
Oh, yes, they would.
You think so?
They'll go.
I don't know.
Like, you're right when you say that even if they did, it probably wouldn't make the difference. But
they're going to blame.
Yeah, they would say.
I don't know. I'm a bit.
I mean, certainly a broken controller could ruin a day of gaming.
Yeah. And
worn out buttons, that sort of thing.
See, I don't. Ooh, that was close. I don't know enough about the whole controller thing. So, let's see.
How did you know that? What is it? What is this question?
So the question is, how do you know when your setup is handicapping you, or are there better options to change from keyboard to wheel? So, actually, that's a good question. So when
I think you would have to use something like Scrum to figure that out.
No. So actually, when I first was introduced to real online racing simulators, I played Live for Speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started out playing Live for Speed with mouse and keyboard.
Uh-oh. I got a death in the family.
Oh, no.
Darn it. I'm back.
Okay.
I'm going to need to...
Battery it up or plug it in. I don't know where my cable's at. So that's a problem.
Well,
But
do you have batteries? Battery.
we might, yeah.
Well, here's a disadvantage right
That's
there.
a disadvantage, right? That could be someone who's like, I need to use a plug controller,
Yeah.
right? That's set up. But anyway, I played a racing simulator, and I started out playing the game with what I had my whole life, mouse and keyboard, and began to realize, I'm not as fast as everyone else. Gee, I wonder why. And actually, that game would display to you, so when you would see who's in the server, it would display what controls they used. And it would say, like, I forgot what keyboard and mouse was considered. It was like KS.
KBM.
It would say KS, so it was keyboard stabilized. That's what it meant. So the game would, like, auto steer to kind of how, like, on a controller does, right?
Sure. So at what point then, like what our questioner is asking?
So when I want it to be taken more seriously, I guess. Right? So I would try to mimic or replicate something that someone with a wheel would do, right? Like I would try and get around a corner a certain way or a certain speed. I would try and get down to certain lap times. I couldn't do it. And I would ask people, hey, how are you so fast? Oh, well, I have this wheel and I noticed it helped me. Right? So that was kind of where I said, okay, well, and then I had the Driving Force GT. Remember that?
Yes, the crummy one.
The crummy one, yeah.
I mean, it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning. And I actually, at first, I was awful with it. But I could see the potential in the device because of the precision it allowed. So that's where I kind of drew the line and said, I need to make a change.
Do you think it's not so much as... Can you restate his question just so I can answer it?
So how did you know when your setup is handicapping? So how did you know when your setup is handicapping? That's the gist of the question.
In agronomical ways, I would say the moment it causes pain, like physical pain.
Yeah.
Because if you're a person that plays any length of time, playing for a while can hurt after a while. Just like any sport. I mean, it's not just like, people who play computers have hand problems or whatever. But just like any sport, there's a level of repeat use injury that comes into play.
Right.
So I would say the moment that you feel pain, like, so for instance, I'm going to tell you about my last upgrade, right?
Right.
My last upgrade, in order to improve performance, was a decent chair.
Yep.
It was a decent chair. Because if you are... So there's something called proprioceptive feedback, right? And what that means... Gosh, I hope I get this right. Well, basically what it means is that your ability to feel your body in space can affect your performance. Right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know where you are.
So if you're playing an FPS...
So, let me...
There's basics, right?
Let me finish on that one. So I'm playing a game, right? And I do work on a computer.
Yep.
So I'm sitting in a chair for quite a bit of time.
Right.
And if your back starts to fatigue and you're playing a competitive game, you will notice it, and it will have an effect on your ability to perform.
Right. Yeah, and then that's kind of where I was saying, there's the basics, right? There's a lot of things that people who start out, want to get good at games, don't think about. And the basics is sitting upright, having your monitor square in front of you, making sure it's at eye level. Those simple things will make a tremendous difference in how you play a game.
Right. Well, okay, so I kept asking, what would you invest in early on? And I know it depends. There's quite a bit of specificity.
There's a ton of variables.
So what would give you the most options? Here's my list. Here's my short list.
Go ahead.
A good desk, right? Regardless of console or PC gaming.
Right. Yeah.
A good monitor. So we talked. I told you earlier that my first sign of getting a new upgrade or picking new components or equipment is pain.
Right.
So a new monitor. Your eyes fatigue too. They're part of your you.
Right.
And as an organism, if they're overused, they're going to fatigue and it's going to hurt and it's not going to be fun.
Right.
So a monitor, I think, at minimum, that can display 120 hertz.
Yeah. Even if you're not. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think a lot of people don't. Well, for people who don't know what 120 hertz means, essentially means that the screen refreshes 120 times a second versus 60.
And
your television that you typically play
console?
Xbox on, probably at 60 hertz. They may say 120 hertz, but it's not true refresh. That's a whole separate subject. But that in itself, having something that allows for low response time, so a 1 millisecond response, that's important.
Sure.
Being able to respond and training yourself to respond to something as quickly as possible. That's, how many times do you see someone, in a professional environment, they say, like in Rocket League or whatever, they can react that quickly to something. Right. They know how to react that quickly. Giving yourself a handicap by having a television, which may respond at 10 milliseconds, which is not a whole lot of time, but you'd be surprised how quickly you notice with a better monitor.
Right. Oh, darn.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I think we can layer that with his question, or with their question about handicapping. What options are better? So that word better.
Right.
That word is kind of meaningless. It's like when people say, well, what's optimal?
Right.
If you're removing pain, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself the opportunity to either practice more,
which will make you better,
or play more specifically the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
Right. So you wouldn't play football in ice skates, right?
No.
The same way you wouldn't play StarCraft with a controller.
No.
So I would say that better options, I would switch that to more specific options.
Right. So and like we said, it depends. While you do this, I'm gonna check something real quick.
Okay.
So let me see something more.
To make sure everything's going through.
Yeah,
the chat wasn't showing. I noticed that too.
Yeah, that was kind of bothering me. But we'll take it. So, but anyway. Yeah. So it depends on what you want to play. So if you're interested in FPS, right, that's what you're going to invest in. You're going to invest in a good keyboard. You're going to invest in a good mouse.
Yeah.
Because those are the things you're going to use.
Right.
That's going to help you.
They're more ergonomical, right?
Yeah, and they provide more tactile feedback.
Yeah.
You know when you've pressed the key on a mechanical keyboard.
To you out there who hear or watch the Samsung Note commercials, and they show the best Fortnite player playing on a Note, that's not happening. Okay?
No.
You're just not going to play well on that.
Was that Ninja or whatever?
Yeah, it's Ninja.
Okay,
and I mean, he's good, right?
No, he's good, but what does he play on when he streams?
Okay, a PC.
Exactly.
It's very specific equipment, not better equipment.
Right.
So
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, you want
saving the day.
You want the most specific equipment you can get.
Yeah.
Once you've gone in all options, right? So if a PC, keyboard and mouse, and a decent monitor, a decent chair, and a decent desk gives you the most options to play, it's only after you have selected games that you like that you get more specific.
Right.
So I didn't have an Xbox controller until I started playing Rocket League, because I found that a controller was a more specific medium in order to interact with the game.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how to play it without a controller.
But
people do.
Yeah, there are some people that do. But
I believe there was someone on G2 I was watching not too long ago playing with a controller. Was it G2 or the?
No. Well, a lot of the pros play with a controller.
No. I'm sorry, not controller. Keyboard and mouse.
Okay. Yeah. There's a French player that plays very well. Can't remember his name.
Johnny Boy plays keyboard.
Yeah, Johnny Boy
plays keyboard and mouse, and he's like champ. Grand champ.
Yeah, he's a grand champ. I think he's one of the lowest level grand champs, but that's not
because of keyboard and mouse.
That's top 5% of players, or 0.5%, 0.5% of players.
Yeah, which is still
that's quite a bit up there.
Good assist on that shot.
But let's be realistic. That's an outlier, right? That's not the norm. So if you look at the norm, no one's playing on a Note.
Norm is Xbox or PS4 controller.
Yeah.
That's the norm.
And then maybe a handful of, more specific things.
Right.
Like more competitive style controllers.
Right. So, my thing with my progression in gaming and what things I've noticed that have helped me equipment-wise. Mm-hmm. So my first thing was, okay, I need to get a stable frame rate. Oh, I need to get 30, 40, 60 frames per second. Wow, Lord Assault keeps getting in this match, and he is not happy about that.
Hey, he's salty.
So my first thing was make sure the game's playable. Right? Playable in the settings that I find desirable.
I think that kind of fits into the ergonomics. I mean,
right. So I'm just letting. This is my progression. This is what I have found. Oh, that was bad.
Dang it, man! Well, you wasn't allowing me shenanigans.
Yeah.
With your 110 points.
So PC was making sure the equipment can run
the game.
The game
Right.
is like critical. That is very important. Then making sure your keyboard and your mouse are up to the task of handling a high amount of actions per minute. Right? You could have a membrane keyboard that can only handle so much. It doesn't respond as quickly, or keys get stuck because it isn't designed to be spammed on, so to speak. So for me, the first things I upgraded as I got further and further into gaming more at a higher level was the machine I played on and my mouse. That at the time was very important. Having a good mouse that didn't slow my reaction, or you know what I mean? It didn't numb the inputs I was putting into it. It was instant.
Right.
And at the time, it was DPI kept going up. We were like, well, I got a 6,000 DPI mouse. Amazing. And now that I have the knowledge I have, I realize you don't need that. But,
Sure. There's overkill in all categories.
Yeah. And at that point, it's actually just marketing. But understanding that the equipment is reliable. Because if you have unreliable equipment that that has different behavior, then you're gonna have inconsistent practice abilities, right? If it's more sensitive at one point and less sensitive at another,
You know what? That is a very good way.
you have to have reliable equipment.
So I think you're addressing his second part of the question, where he says, not so much better options, but things that handicap you. Right? So, for instance, I was playing this game earlier at home, and I play on a Wi-Fi signal, which for any true gamer out there, they know that's not
handicapped.
That's a big handicap.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, so is a wireless controller apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good. I'm back up. So I was playing on a wireless signal, right?
Right.
And my ping was all over the place. And for you, how would you best explain
Ping is the amount of time it takes for the server to respond to you,
or to know that you put an
respond to the
input
server.
in? I think, right?
Right.
Yeah. So my ping was all over the place.
That's not ping per se.
Latency.
So
Yeah.
basically, it means I hit forward, and then it takes 40 milliseconds for the server to recognize that I've hit forward. That's what ping is.
Yeah. So if you want to correct that, maybe a major investment, along with what I mentioned earlier, would be good internet connection.
Reliable.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need high speed. There's a lot of people. Oh well, I have a gigabit or 1,000 meg connection, and I still lag. Okay, you could have a 50 meg connection and still have a better connection to a server than someone with a faster connection. It just needs to be more reliable, more consistent.
Yeah.
As well as finding cables.
Yeah, have your cables ready.
And actually, to be honest, if you're taking something seriously, be wired. Absolutely.
I think there's an argument to that.
No, I think wired is more.
You just said stable, right?
It's all about stability.
Yeah.
Consistency.
So knowing
you don't.
Anything that handicaps you undermines your ability to perform the same action over and over.
Right.
Right. So if there is something, if you want to talk about better options, anything that is preventing you from doing the same thing over and over well is something you want to upgrade or change.
If for whatever reason Wednesday night you have a great connection and you practice a certain technique and you're like, okay man, it's Thursday night, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to practice that technique again, and now you're lagging.
Right.
So maybe you just say, okay, well I'm going to play because I want to play. Maybe I adapt myself to that lag. Now the stuff you learned the other night is irrelevant because
it's a totally different.
Yeah, you're practicing
medium.
for something else every night. It's
Right.
different.
So with that out of the way, do you think some of this changes for like real competitive gamers?
When you say changes, what do you mean?
Like the advice. Does the advice change for competitive gamers? And if so, how so?
The advice. I'm not following you.
Like, so we encourage them not to really care about the small edges. Like, you don't need a competitive controller to get started.
No, yeah. No, I agree.
But if a person is already a competitive gamer, like, what edges are better for them?
Darn, that
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to talk and play.
What?
Oops.
There we go. fix that. I don't know. I don't think... I think people focus almost too much on equipment. The point is it just needs to work. That's it. You know, you need to... There are ways to give yourself somewhat of an advantage, like having a high refresh rate monitor, right? And having a machine that can play at that refresh rate.
Do you think there's some standardization then with real competitive play?
I think, yeah, there is.
Like, esports.
With esports, 9 times out of 10, for the games that I watch, and even they don't even need it in my mind,
right.
But for the games that I watch, they have a high refresh rate monitor. And they're bringing their own equipment to play. Like when you watch someone play StarCraft professionally.
Is that right? They're allowed to bring their own equipment.
They bring their keyboard and mouse. Not the PC.
Okay.
But they bring their keyboard and mouse. That, to me, makes sense, right? Because that's your instrument. That is your tool. That is, you're comfortable with it. So I like how in that environment they allow you to bring your... Wow, that was cool.
So what if they have a more powerful computer?
So for like IEM or anything,
or do they just use maxed out stuff?
They're all maxed out.
Okay.
And the thing is like pro gamers, you and I joke with this, pro settings, right?
Yeah.
They play on low settings to allow
least distraction.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that topic in depth at a later time.
Right. So you don't need, per se, a monstrous PC. I mean, not many people are going to play Far Cry competitively, and so I don't think that's possible. So my point being is most esport games and titles are pretty easy to run. You know, you could have
very minimal
equipment and wow, that was wow. So you don't need a $3,000 machine,
the best of the best,
or even a $1,500 machine. You could probably get away with a $500 piece of equipment and play that game.
Well, here's where I might introduce a counter argument to that. So from what I know about Specificity, your future handle name, I guess. Yeah. From what I know about Specificity is that the further you are from your type of sport or practice or craft, the further you are from its competitive results.
Right.
Right? So if you were, I don't know, I guess, a champion football player, right? A really good football player. And let's be even more specific. So within football, there are plenty of different... Oh no, the batteries.
I got the batteries, the B batteries here.
You know, the controller's not turning off on this thing. We'll just leave it alone.
That's why I wanted to find the cable. We could go back to a different game if we need to.
Well, this is fine. As long as we get these points covered, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, Specificity, right? If you were a football player, and let's even be more specific, if you were a wide receiver, which is a person who, after the ball is snapped, so after the quarterback gets the ball...
Okay, you're going to have to train me because I don't know. Wide receiver is the guy, I don't know.
Quarterback is the person that throws the ball to the person that catches it. The person that catches it is usually the wide receiver, meaning they're going out very far in order to have the best opportunity to get the ball because the defenders are not in the way. Right?
Right.
So if you had the best quarterback, right, and he practiced being the quarterback, whatever that entails.
Yeah, throwing the ball.
Yeah, can he also be the best wide receiver?
Probably not.
No, right? Because he doesn't.
Logically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he doesn't specifically train for that. Right.
He practices not for catching,
for
throwing.
Just like the best oral surgeon is not going to be the best brain surgeon.
Right.
There's probably some carryover.
Yeah.
Right. Just like I'm sure a quarterback can at least catch the ball if needed.
I just realized that.
Yeah. So a quarterback can obviously catch the ball if needed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the best wide receiver.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So here's how I'm going to apply that to gaming. That's fine. Here's how I'm going to apply that to gaming. All right, you ready for this?
Sure.
Okay. So I think that even though you don't need much, darn, that's my fault all day.
Well, that was close.
That was funny.
That was
close.
That was interesting. Wow, nowhere. Stupid. I hate Rumble. I don't know why.
It's so random.
I'm so bad at it. I hate Rumble.
So even though, right, you don't need the best equipment,
No.
I think, and that's fine. I think if you know what you will be playing under competitive conditions with, I think you should practice under those conditions.
Yeah. And that goes back to standardization to an extent. Mm-hmm. You know, in any environment, there's standardization.
Sure, but
There
if you want to be the best in that environment, I think you need to recreate or get as close as possible to recreating that environment.
Right.
So, like,
If you're going to be playing in a tight, confined space, like they do at StarCraft, where you're in a room by yourself.
it's like a cubicle-styled area.
Exactly. Replicate it.
Yeah.
By all means.
Why
Because
not?
If you plan on going that far, if you just want to get good at being at home, that's different. Just make yourself as comfortable as possible in that environment. The last thing you want is your desk or your chair or your mouse pad. Yeah, mouse pad.
To be
right.
what throws you off.
Right.
Right.
You know.
So like you were saying earlier, that in StarCraft they allow you to bring your own equipment, save for the computer, right? So specificity is not huge, but it's important, but it's not a huge importance, right?
Yeah.
From what I've seen in the Rocket League competitions, it looks like other than controller, the equipment is standardized. So you have
when I see
you have
that
that racing game chair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I seen the one guy.
Oh darn!
Wow. I seen the one guy with a keyboard and mouse. He had his own keyboard and mouse there.
Right. Well, again,
everyone
that's
else had
that's your controller.
Yeah, everyone else had a standard keyboard and mouse. That's just one unique variant.
Right. But everybody usually is in the same kind of chair, which is those racing chairs, which you're in a game. I mean, when you play a game, you're not racing.
No.
So those chairs are inappropriate. But I think as you get closer to competition, if you play at an incredible level, right?
Yeah.
Like real professional level, you should own both those chairs.
Yeah.
And as you get closer to competition, you should practice in the more specific chair.
Yep.
I mean, it's not going to hurt you, and if anything, it allows you to practice under the conditions that you'll be playing in.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Ooh.
No.
Wow.
So yeah, I think specificity is very important in that regard, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in a competition where even at the high end of the competitive level, they allow you to do whatever you want, then no, specificity is not as important.
Ooh.
Man, I can't get the curve.
Yeah. The
We
guys
got
are-
overtime coming up.
Yep. So I think you should determine what you're comfortable with. You play FPS, you want to play with your mouse. Figure out what mouse style is more comfortable for you.
Yeah.
There's ambidextrous,
Well,
but there's also specifically right-handed mice. you
Sure.
know. Do you
So-
prefer optical? Do you prefer laser? There's a lot of little things.
Would
that
you consider that more of an agronomic thing?
it's preferential.
Okay.
You know, it's you get a feel for something, you get a taste for something, and you may prefer it or you may not.
So I noticed that you don't use a RTS specific mouse when you play StarCraft, right?
No.
If the people that are beating you are using that, do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, because you could also have people who just use a regular mouse.
That's true.
You know, who are just better than you. It's preferential. That's it. Some people may be great with a ball mouse. I don't know who would, but it's a possible. What the?
I don't think there's too many ball mousers out there.
No, but my point is if that's what you're good at, if that's what you're comfortable with, play with it. It's all about what you're comfortable with. And there's a lot of people who play MMOs with those mice that have all the millions of buttons
Yeah, that's
on
what
them.
I was thinking.
And
The macro mouse.
yeah, and I don't personally see the benefit of that. I don't. I prefer just to have a mouse.
Right.
And then I use my keys on my keyboard for my spells or whatever my abilities.
I think that has more to do with the whole carryover thing. Like,
Yeah,
since
so-
you've played so much with a mouse and keyboard, regardless of the game,
That's what I'm comfortable.
generally, in most games, you have the most transference in with regular mouse and keyboard. Oh my
Right.
gosh, that was good.
Yeah.
Screw that guy.
So, yeah, I would agree with that. Do Do you want to switch batteries, or what do you want to do here?
Yeah, let's play one. I'll play one more, and then we'll call it.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds good. Well, I think we'll cover the topic of environment.
Yeah, because you're not in a good environment right now.
I know. I mean, even so. For instance, like our environment of talking to you while playing the game has
you could sit further forward
has severely. Yeah, but I don't want to move because I've already become used to this.
Oh, okay.
So any change in my position here might ruin my already terrible gameplay.
Yeah. Oh.
I love that sound.
That was
like,
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like loading. I don't know if that's going to resolve the problem because the controller wasn't turning off.
Oh, I think the problem just might be my awful gameplay, but who knows? So environment. Like, again, we go back, I guess, a little bit to specificity. If you're in a competitive field, it's impossible to mimic having a crowd watch you play.
Yeah, no. And that's a whole separate pressure on its own.
Right.
That's its own thing. So you can't replicate that. You can only just prepare. But like I said, 95%, if not everybody who views this, isn't going to be sitting in front of a crowd of people playing a game.
Okay, so for the general...
Yeah, for the general people living at home. You live at home, obviously. But being at home playing a game, you want to understand just, is it worth? Should I buy a $130 keyboard, right?
Right.
Is that going to make you a better player? It's not going to make you a better player, but it's going to help you be more consistent.
Sure.
It's going to be more reliable. It's going to last longer. And ultimately, that makes a huge difference because being adjusted to the equipment that you use, you don't think about it. Yeah. The less you think about the equipment, the better you're going to be at the game.
Do you think that there's any force multipliers for gaming? I mean, as far as environment goes. So I'll give you an example, right? I think headphones
are important.
Can improve your environmental understanding, or just your environment in general.
I couldn't play UT without headphones
because you shut out any outside distractions.
Yeah, I think that's important. Oh yeah, your environment's important. If you're in a loud environment, you're gonna lower your chances of playing well. Absolutely.
Now I see a lot of streamers have pets in their room while they play.
Yeah, and that, like I said, they're accustomed to those things.
Okay, so they're already used to that stressor.
Yeah,
so it's not a big deal.
But you don't see many streamers who communicate with their audience talk much, right? If you watch like a Korean StarCraft 2 player play, he's not having a conversation with you.
Yeah,
he's playing the game, and you're watching just to see how he plays.
I would think that the ones that are having a conversation with you are usually playing bad or poorly.
And so there are a lot of streamers who play well, right? But they're not playing great. Mm-hmm. So let's say they're in Grand Champ, right? But they're not at the level that, like, I think there's someone in here who's got the name Squishy.
Yeah.
Right?
He's not the real one.
He's not the real one, but...
And for those of you who don't know, Squishy is a top-end professional.
Yeah, he's a pro player.
Just won the last world champion.
Yeah, but he streams.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt he carries a ton of conversation while he streams.
No, he just does self-criticism as he's playing.
Which is very easy to do because you're doing that mentally already.
Right.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
So
I guess environmental factors other than playing outdoors or...
playing on a laptop outdoors.
I guess Wi-Fi is an environmental factor or part of the setup. Generally,
so let's recap.
You think that stability is the most important thing.
Yeah, let's recap.
So even if you had a faster Wi-Fi connection, generally having a more stable connection is more important.
Yeah, let's recap on setup. Okay. So good things are desk. One.
Let's say things that reduce pain,
or just things that allow you to game longer.
Okay, yeah. So anything ergonomic.
Yeah. So your desk, your keyboard, your mouse, your chair, and your monitor. Making sure all that you see a lot of people who play games with the monitor or just have their PC set up like where you look to the right to look at your main screen. You're not going to get that. You'll play good, but to be the best or the best that you can play at, I guess you could say.
No one ever was.
Yeah, you want everything dialed. You want the monitor right in front of you at eye level. The basic ergonomics, the basics need to be dialed.
Sure.
Right? So that way it eliminates variables and then you can just play. You can focus on playing, and you can be comfortable while. So those three things, desk, keyboard, well, whatever. Peripherals, desk, chair, which I guess is all peripherals. But regardless, you need to make sure that those things are accounted for. What else would there be? I don't think there's much. I mean, for setup and equipment.
If you're a console player, don't play on a TV if you want to get good.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I would play on a...
Like, if you're just playing with friends when they come over, because you're all playing on the same TV, it's the same competitive field.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But if you plan on playing online, don't.
Yeah, if you want to be competitive,
yeah,
then you need to...
You need to play on a monitor that can perform.
You need to be sitting up, not on a couch,
Yeah.
in a chair, that your posture is correct. Believe it or not, that's a small thing. And I've actually even read, so there's a player in UT who created a guide. He said it's this, one of the things was wash your hands. Make sure your hands are clean.
So no slipping.
Yeah, literally, wash your hands was one of the things in the guide. And I thought about that, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know, maybe it was my OCD or whatever.
Maybe it was to the Cheeto crowd. Dang.
No, but the point being is you don't want your hands to feel like slippery or greasy or something where you just don't feel comfortable.
Right.
That's it. And that to me resonated with me because it made sense. It made sense for me to, hey, I agree. So if I want to play UT very well, you're having controller problems.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's environmental factors.
That's environmental. What
it's a
the
major
crap?
stressor. I know that much.
So, well, we've actually exceeded our
Our
goal.
hour.
Yeah. So
So for those of you who stuck around, thanks.
for those who listened, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate the not subscriber, follower that we received today as
Yeah.
well. So that's awesome. Those kinds of things definitely motivate us. But
And I think it's because we know that you care about gaming that you're listening. Like,
well,
obviously.
yeah,
But if you want to get better,
it's quality background noise for people who want to get better at gaming.
yeah, this is the people that are distracted by us as an environmental factor.
Yeah, don't listen to us while you game.
Yeah,
That could be a whole separate discussion, though.
right. But like you said, it might be like the whole dog thing, where if you expose yourself to a stressor over and over, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say, well, specificity suggests that if you need to expose yourself to the different stresses that you will experience in the competitive play. So,
And you need to replicate that.
yeah, as close as possible. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. You need to replicate that.
So we'll end with that. Next time, well,
We haven't really decided.
yeah, we're coming up with what we want to discuss next time.
I think-
so we'll leave you on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And we might even drop you off that cliff or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But actually, if this is when this goes on YouTube, if people are interested enough, you can leave a comment. Maybe throw us a suggestion. Say,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
what would you like to hear?
We
If
are
there's
lazy
anyone-
enough to outsource our ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, but people are going to want to.
Well, that's why people do it.
Yeah.
Perhaps we'll discuss team-based gameplay since, I've been doing so awfully here. But who knows? We'll figure out something.
Yeah.
And we'll see you hopefully next Friday or Thursday
Or Thursday,
whenever we
whatever
decide
day's
to.
appropriate.
Yeah, sometime next week. All right.
All righty, guys.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.